Hi guys, welcome back to another Star Wars figure review. Next video, we're going to take a look at one of the figures from the Black Series, and this is sort of a reissue line that's coming on now, because back when they started giving in the new waves of packaging for the figures, they started a new line of the characters in the Rebels series, and that was basically the Black Series characters from Rebels, but sort of reissued in the new packaging, and basically they had the new photoreal faces and all that for the characters to give them that realistic aspect to it. Now, they did Hasbro have done the same thing with the Black Series with Rogue One, and as well as reissuing characters from the original line, these including being Jyn, Cassian, Chirrut Imwe, and Base Malbus, they also have given us a few new characters who weren't released originally when the line debuted back in 2016. And this is one of the characters that we'll be looking at today. I picked this one up yesterday from the Forbidden Planet at the time of filming this review, and that is this guy here, Blue Leader Antoc Merrick. Now, before we look at him, we'll take a look at the packaging that this one comes in. Now, as you can see, it's a new Rogue One style. They've got a sort of a turquoise banner look for the mural that is on there. And then on the back, of course, they do have number that's showcasing that this is number 8 in the Black Series line for Rogue One. And as on the mural there, you do have the aspect there. You do have the slight side part where Galen Erso is meant to be, because he's the previous figure in the line before Antoc Merrick. So he'll be there and shown side by side. I do have Galen Erso as well, and I'll be showing him in a later video. But there's the bio if you'd like to pause and have a look at that there. So that is all in there. And it's a great image of the character in the film. Like, we do see him without his helmet quite a lot throughout Rogue One, and that's simply because his actor was able to be in the film by the chance. Because the main other two pilots we do have at the Battle of Scarif as leaders are Garvin Dre's Red Leader and John Vander Gold Leader, who we would see in Episode 4, but they were already inserted to the film by archive footage. They were already seen in the cockpits of the film of their fighters. But Antoc Merrick is one of those up-front fighters that we do see on the film, and this packaging really is. I really like the turquoise colour scheme they've given for Rogue One figures for Antoc Merrick there, and that artwork there with the X-wing in the background is really stands out there for what it is. This is really good packaging this time around. I do like the chosen colour scheme for Rogue One figures. Now we look at the figure himself, and there's some good things on this, and there's some bad things. I think the main thing I just want to bring up is that the majority of the figure is just reuse. Like, the torso and the legs are just reuse from the pilot figures. Because here's the Luke Skywalker one in comparison. It is literally the exact same figure. Even the belt, the belt has a little loop, which is done for Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. If I can just get it to show on the camera. There's a little sort of loop there. I mean, that was originally done on the Luke Skywalker figure to give him his lightsaber, so he could hook his lightsaber onto the hilt there. Whereas this time, it has no use. Like, they did this with Wedge Antilles as well. The entire figure, aside from the head, was for Wedge was just reuse from Luke. Like, all the same articulation is existent. Like, you've got the double joints on there, which was prevalent on the pilot Luke. That's still there for the articulation. Like, you've even got like the ball joint hinge at the head there as well, as opposed to the new classic two-part neck thing they usually do these days with Hasbro. So it's a bit of a letdown to see them do that rather than just give Antoc Merrick a new sculpt. But at the same time, it's quite an easy able to do, because they have repainted it though, because of course Antoc Merrick is Blue Leader, so the Blue Leader fighters do indeed wear blue flight suits as opposed to the orange ones that most of the other pilots do tend to wear. Of course, included with him we do get a DL-44 blaster pistol, which most Rebel pilots are noted for wielding. Well, they're the ones we basically see them with, because that's the one Luke came with. I mean, Wedge came with a standard blaster pistol, so I don't know what gives them why they choose to do this with Antoc Merrick, but it doesn't bother me too much. I mean, we've got plenty of. They don't really need them when they're piloting ships, so it's not something too much to worry about. And yeah, so that's all I'm really saying in regards to that. I mean, the flight, everything else about the figure, it's the same old really. It's the same old really, but it's nice to see a different character get a pilot figure release. And I do look forward to some other Rebel pilots hopefully getting their Black Series releases in the years to come. Maybe like Biggs or even Porkins. It'd be great to see them get Black Series releases. We've had two versions of Luke. We've had Wedge. I believe we had Dak as well. He came with a snowspeeder, but I didn't get him. But it'll be nice. I mean, it'll be nice in a few years we get a few more of them, and they really stick in. Like Evan Verlaine from the comic books, I'd love to get a Black Series of her. I think she'd be great. Like, there's lots we see in the films that would have got Black Series releases. Well, would have got figure releases like back when, like, the way Hasbro used to produce them back when the Clone Wars was popular with the Legacy Collection and all that. But it's nothing too much to worry about. But I'll run down the articulation as I was saying about it now. You got the ball joint and hinge at the neck, ball hinge shoulders and elbows, ball hinged wrists, ball jointed torso, bull hinged hips, swivel thighs, the double joints in these, as I said, apart from reuse. Then also with it being reused, you do get these swivel boots, which was prevalent on Luke and Wedge. They've copied that over. Ball joint rockers at the ankle. So it's basically what I'm saying. Like apart, like the other part for that they gave was giving the new look for the arms. I mean, they're definitely not reused because the arms for the standard orange suit pilots were very different as opposed to these new ones. So you get something new with this one. It's not 100% apart from the head, a complete reuse of figures. Like you look at figures like Admiral Piet, Admiral Rampart, General Viers. They're all just like reuse of Tarkin's body sculpt. Even Tarkin, an example, he's just a reuse of Krennic's sculpt and just repainted. So yeah, that's kind of what we're getting there. Now, of course, what we do also get is the flight helmet on Antoc Merrick, and the helmet does actually come off the figure in the packaging. And this is another thing to take the criticism for. It was a nightmare to get this helmet, and I've actually just given it a boil and pop to sort of just loosen it and may help it fit on the figure better. But the facial sculpt is much better without it on. Like I'll be displaying this without the helmet on. Like I haven't done that too much with the Rebel pilot figures that I've got, but I think Antoc Merrick will be a without the pilot helmet look, because I think that just looks so much better. The full photoreal sculpt they have for the actor that played him, I forget his name, I'll caption it there. I know it's not Simon Farnaby because I thought that was who it was for a second. He's actually blue too. He's the one who says we won't have long, because Antoc Merrick is blue leader. I think he's blue too, the other one, but this guy, like, you can get some nice poses there. Like even that, like the pose I've got him at in the camera right now, I think I've got my thumbnail shot when it comes to this. But yeah, Antoc Merrick really stands out for that aspect there. Like the facial sculpt really suits this figure well, and like even when he's holding the helmet, like I'll have him on the shelf holding it, and he'll look great. He looks great when he's holding it. Like you never think you'd see a pilot figure that looks better actually holding the helmet as opposed to actually wearing it. Cause like my Luke and Wedge on the shelves, they're both wearing their helmets and showing them out like that. And in Luke's case, it doesn't bother too much. I mean, his face is on a lot of other figures that I've got, but Wedge is a bit more unique. But I think with this one, he's going to be posed like this. I think this, yeah, one of those shots that I've just shown earlier will be the thumbnail shot. I think that's a definite decision I've already reached while filming this. But I've got, yeah, I mean, as again, this figure has some good points, has some bad points. Take a look at the helmet though, it's really well done. Like you've shown that this helmet's been through some action prior to Scarif, like during the events of Rebels, or probably during the events of the upcoming Cassian Andor series. There should be plenty there. I feel like he's going to appear. Antoc Merrick will appear in the Andor series, as we do know when watching Rogue One. Antoc Merrick does unfortunately meet his demise in the battle because he is shot down by a TIE striker. So that was the unfortunate part of that. But he's a good new addition for Hasbro's Black Series. Even if it is a lot of reuse on the sculpt, Rebel pilots don't really need to do much. I think all they need to do is get rid of that lightsaber belt hook because we don't need it on these. It was only the Luke one that really needed it. But that's not too much to criticize. This really is a great. it's a good, but it's not the most amazing figure there. But it's nice to see some variation because I'm much more welcoming of an Antoc Merrick figure right now, as opposed to Biggs or someone like that. Simply because he's wearing a blue flight suit as opposed to an orange one. It's nice to have someone different. He does play sort of a bit of a role in Rogue One. As I said, until he meets his demise on Scarif, you see him quite frequently on the Rebel base throughout the film. Like you can see him, he's talking to Mon Mothma in the film, and then like that other rebel officer who discovers that the Scarif transmission, that he's there, and he shows his superiority to the troopers you see there, and then of course they're informed that Admiral Raddus has left for his ship and go to fight, so he's off, and then they're off in their fighters ready to go to Scarif. But he's really great. He's a decent character. He's a nice pilot to see, and I do hope we get some more of him in Andor. I think that's going to be great if he is featured in Andor. But we'll just have to wait and see when that comes out, and we'll just see whatever else he might get for him in the future. Antoc Merrick from Rogue One, and they're definitely worthy addition. There'll be a link down to where you can buy him in the description below. I believe at the time of filming this, he is currently in stock at Star Action Figures. I picked this one up out of Forbidden Planet instead because I just saw him on the shelf and thought I've got to have him. So he's definitely there. So that is Antoc Merrick from Rogue One. I hope you enjoyed looking at him. And yeah, as I said, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.